In this video, I will give you tips and tricks as to how you can superb and perfect every minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever. Yes, even Monkey Watch. Meet Daniel, also known as RTGame, which probably stands for Rhythm Treasure.
Rhythm Master! Hang on. Oh my god.
He calls himself as a man with no rhythm. But I believe that even he can superb and perfect every minigame given some of these tips. Let's start off with Hole-in-One. It should be a pretty straightforward minigame. If you're struggling with Hole-in-One,
Talk while playing this. Mandrill, no, feel happy. Oh my god, we failed.
then that's okay. Don't treat this as a way of saying that you're bad at the game. You just have to spend a little bit more time than usual if you want to superb and perfect every other minigame. You will get that eventually, just you take a little bit longer, and that's okay.
Ooh, compressive and Mandrill feel excited? Superb! I got it!
Think of it this way, Rhythm Heaven Fever is a fun game, and you get to spend more time with the game. Doesn't that mean you theoretically will have more fun at the game? You technically get to enjoy the game for longer. There are a few simple things that you can do that can help you with Hole-in-One or any of the minigames throughout. Do a few things that can help you keep track of your rhythm better. Stuff like bopping your head along with the music, tapping your feet. As long as you're keeping track of rhythm in one way or another. Moving on to Screwboard Factory. Let me introduce you to a trick that will help make this game and Screwboard Factory 2 as well as some other games pretty easy. All you have to do is just count. With the black robots, count to 3. And with the white robots, count to 2. If you have any trouble keeping track of how to count or when to count, a good indicator of this are the robot's hands. These hands pulse for every count. You can very easily see that some things in the game makes it very easy to count. There will always be something in the minigames that pulse or bop along with the music, and I feel like those are the best things that you should look at whenever you play these games, because those will help you keep track of the rhythm better. And if you ever feel like you've gone off beat, you can always just look back at them and they will help you get back on track. And that's going to be the goal of most minigames if you want to get better at them. Look for something that can help you stay on rhythm. On to Seesaw. The key to winning this minigame is what I like to call dialogue cues, if that's the word for it. Essentially, after C or C says, how the hell do I say this? After C says ooh, Saw would say Let me show you. I think that would be better.
The lands were excellent, the high jumps were impressive. Superb.
On a side note, what are your favorite places to go on a date? Well, clearly in the Rhythm Heaven universe, the best way to go on a date is by sitting on the park and looking at weasels. The key to winning this minigame is by simply counting as well and by keeping track of the rhythm. The football, the soccer ball, and the basketball will follow a 2-beat. And then the footballs follow a 3. If you have any trouble keeping track of those, just be horny. In this minigame, there are 3 things that you can look at to keep track of the rhythm. There's the boy, there are the weasels, and then there's the girl. The boy will obviously not be a good thing to keep track of the rhythm with because you'll be getting a good kick out of it. And then the weasels are jumpy fellows. So the best way around this is to be horny and just look at the girl. It's okay to go to horny jail. Everyone there is horny too. If you want to superb it, there are 3 things that you have to be doing well on. First of all, there's the footballs, soccer balls, and basketball. And then there's the football. And then lastly, there's a part where it says you did well in the part where it got difficult. The difficult part is essentially the offbeat part. Now, I get that it's kind of contradictory, isn't it? Why would you add something that's offbeat to a rhythm game? Well, a simple explanation for this is that offbeat is kind of a weird name. I think the more accurate name for them would be half beats. Every time you count 1, 2, 3, 4 in any music, offbeats or half beats are essentially 1.5, 2.5 and 3.5. As simple as that. Now, knowing what offbeats are, I think that might help you understand a bit as to how these two difficult footballs work. Difficult soccer balls. God damn it. Now, remixes tend to be a jump in difficulty sometimes, and I couldn't get that. So I would suggest that whenever you get into a remix, the first thing you have to do is basically know what minigame comes next. If you know the sequence of minigames, or if you roughly get what's coming next, it makes you more prepared for it. Another thing you can do is just keep track of the new speed. Take for example, Double Date was a really slow game, but coming into Remix 1, you have to adjust it to this newer speed. And it could very easily just be solved by once again looking at a girl. She bops along to the new rhythm. And that goes along for every other minigame. There is something that can tell you the new rhythm of the remix that you can easily follow along with. When it comes to fork lifter, I think the best part to look is the place between the fork and the hand. The other hand. And then this is where I feel like the soundtrack makes it very obvious as to when you should tap. And also, a very important thing to note is that if you do not get the entire complete burger, you can say goodbye to that superb. After finishing Forklifter, you will unlock 2-player mode. Now there's something to remind you of how lonely you are. Remember when I said like the soundtrack makes it very obvious when you should tap? Tambourine, I feel, makes it even more obvious as to when you should tap. If you're struggling to find when to play the tambourine, I think listening to the soundtrack separately actually helps you. This isn't to say that you should be muting your game and then playing the music. No, that will actually cause more harm than good. What I'm saying is that you should listen to the soundtrack alone. Another thing to note is that I feel like every streamer or YouTuber who has played this plays the tambourine too early. It's better to be late than be early. It may not be true for the minigame, they may not be more lenient towards late ones, but I feel like it's a better mindset to have and you're less likely to make mistakes when thinking of that. Now, board meeting. This one can ironically be one of the hardest superbs to get. Not because it's a difficult minigame per se. In fact, it's very easy compared to the next one, to be honest. It's the fact that you only get one mistake. Sometimes even one mistake is enough for the game to say, you screwed up too much, no superb for you. This should be a pretty straightforward minigame, and I feel that you can just keep trying at it and you eventually get it. Now, on to RTGame's favorite minigame. The minigame that he is so good at, someone made a video of him spending an entire hour practicing.
High five him, you little shit!
Now, Monkey Watch is easy for certain types of people. Understandably, Monkey Watch is the hardest jump in difficulty in the game, and for good reason. First of all, this minigame absolutely shits on anyone who relies on visual cues. halfway through and at the end of the minigame, the camera pans out and you still have to continue playing, even though it does that. There's also the fact that I feel like the high fives are kinda inaccurate. And the second reason as to why it's a pretty sharp difficulty spike is the fact that you have to maintain your rhythm. Everything from now is just, here's a cue, you tap. But this one, you just have to keep tapping throughout of it. And then lastly, it's also because it includes offbeats. And it's not one or two like Double Date, it's the entire minigame. Knowing that the game tries so hard to throw you off in terms of visuals, one of the best solutions is to simply not look at the game while you're playing. An immediate solution to this is to simply look at your Wiimote. I don't know, I emulate it. Look at the button that you have to press, the A button, and just keep track of the rhythm that way. Without any visual disturbances, I think you'll be having a fine time. If you absolutely have to look at something in the game, I would suggest looking at the clock hand, as these are actually not misleading unlike the hi-fi, and it's much easier to keep track of it when you're looking at that. A lot of people would say that, oh, it's really hard to find your way back into the song. Oh, if you lose your way into this, then you're just screwed.
If you lose your place in this one, you're really screwed.
It's like once you get off the track, it's so hard to get back on it, dude.
Those people are weak. I mean, granted, they're correct, but I would highly recommend listening to the soundtrack separately at first, without the disturbances of the offbeat monkey cues, and also without the disturbances of the high-fiving sounds. First of all, because it's Monkey Watch and it's a very good song. I actually really like the song and I listen to it whenever I'm feeling down. And let me just say, you can never feel sad listening to this song. Unless you're RTGame, of course. And second of all, you would also find out that this music is in Smash. Now, why is it in Smash? I don't know, but it's there. And the third reason is listening to the music, just like Tambourine, makes you better at the game. You start to pick up on things that can help you keep track of the rhythm better. Like you can hear a snare drum in the background telling you almost every time that you have to high five the monkey.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
If you're having trouble superbing with this minigame, just look at what they say at the end. And I feel like what they do not say is what you need to improve on if you want to get a superb. I personally struggled with this minigame a lot, and just like everyone, I actually didn't enjoy it that much at first. But after I listened to the soundtrack separately, I came back to this minigame and I absolutely aced it. I don't know what's the correlation there, but clearly something happened. And from there on, Monkey Watch became my favorite minigame. Because Monkey Watch is just that fun once you understand how to play it. Now, Remix 2 is the shortest remix, but that doesn't make it the easier. Given that it's the shortest one, that means that every action counts, and one mistake could be the difference between a superb and an okay, or worse yet, an okay and a try again. And you wouldn't want to be called an unhatched egg every time you play this game now, would you?
You're as good as an unhatched egg. Oh.
That's right, get good. Again, everything here is just simply reapplying of what I said about the minigames onto this remix. And what I said about Remix 1 onto this remix. Simple as that. I mean, as simple as that, it's obviously easier said than done. I can get that.
3, 4.
Now, Working Doll can be a pretty difficult game sometimes, but there are a few things that can guide you towards that superb that you want. Like, first of all are the hatches. The hatches can easily tell you when to press, I feel. And the next thing is that there is nothing stopping you from trying to mimic the rhythm before it is your turn. Now, build to scale. moving on. Now, Air Rally could be a difficult game for two reasons. First of all, just like Monkey Watch, you have to maintain a rhythm, and the rhythm changes every now and then based on the cue. And second of all, it's actually pretty hilarious, to be honest. First advice I would give are the rhythm changes. When it says ba bam bam bam, hit on the tree. Ba bam bam bam, 2, 3, 4. Honestly, if you're still having trouble with Monkey Watch or Figure Fighter, which is the next game, I think Air Rally is a very good minigame to practice maintaining a rhythm. Speaking of which, trust me when I say you have to master the quick 1-2s.
1, 2, 1, 2, and jab, 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 and 1, 2, and
And we will know why later. This one, there are plenty of ways to play around it. First of all is the simple keep track of along with the rhythm, counting and stuff like that.
and jab, 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 and 1, 2, and jab, jab, go, 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 and jab.
Second of all is by the dialogue cues. I don't know what it is, but whenever the guy just screams Jeff, I just find it easier to play the game. And now, on to Remix 3. The second difficulty spike. Understandably, Remix 3 will be another choke point in your Rhythm Heaven playthrough, and that's okay. It's actually a pretty difficult minigame, to be honest, when you first start off. But remember when I said in Figure Fighter that you have to master the quick 1-2s? Well...
Jab, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
The minigame throws quick 1-2s at you very frequently, and if you can't do it, you'll be fighting a very uphill battle. When it comes to remixes that have lyrics on them, I think one of the easier ways is to simply just follow along with the lyrics. One thing the localization doesn't push around is song lyrics. Not rap lyrics, we'll handle that soon. Song lyrics. The song lyrics make it easier to follow along, or if you just bop along with the music, it makes it so much easier to play. Now, ringside should be a sharp drop in difficulty, to be honest. The only difficult part I would say in this is
Whoa, you go, big guy.
essentially you have to tap twice quickly. First one on beat and the second one off beat. Other than that, this minigame is very lenient. You can literally just pose when you don't have to. The superb will still come. Not just for the one-player version, the two-player version as well. Now on to packaging pests. This song is perfect for twerking. Do not ask how I know that, just do what you will with the information. Honestly, the entire minigame is the same thing over and over, I feel. If you get the hang of it, you can easily ace the entire minigame. It's the same of catch, smack, and if it says double up, catch, smack, smack, and then go back, catch, and smack it. Try to get the hang of the rhythm.
Double up.
On a side note, I don't think I would want to eat candy from something called spider-free candy. I'm not even arachnophobic, and I would genuinely not want to eat candy from that, to be honest. Seems like a very bad marketing tactic, if you ask me.
Double up. Double up. Jeff Bezos.
If you're like me, and your Wii is garbage, or you don't have one, if you're emulating Rhythm Heaven Fever from Dolphin, you will understandably get this still image of Microwoe, and I have a simple solution for that. First of all, save state. Press the F1 key, and then press F3, load state, and you will get into the game. Now, why is it that when you emulate this game, you get a still frame? I don't know. Why is it that when you save state and load state, you just get to play the game like usual? I don't know either. But hey, this is like a programmer's mindset. Why does this thing not work? I don't know. Why does this thing suddenly work now? I don't know either. I totally did not discover this trick for micro roll because I used to be a dirty cheater who saved states when I had to get a perfect. Similarly to Monkey Watch and Air Rally, it's actually just keeping a rhythm. And if you struggle with keeping a rhythm, this level will be another roadblock. The Wandering Samurai bops to the music. Follow him whenever you're lost and you'll be fine. This minigame can be a bit difficult because it's another minigame that really tries to screw you up if you rely on visual cues. Either way, there are just plenty of ways to play this. Music really follows onto the monsters. There are no offbeats, the music is exactly the same as when you shoot slice. You can also follow the dialogue cue, specifically the dialogues of the monsters. And also, if you want a superb, make sure you get back the pinwheel. For Remix 4, there's nothing really overly complicated that I need to explain, I feel. Just follow on the tips that I've stated for the other remixes and you should be doing fine. On to Catch of the Day, or as you should call it, Jerma985's favorite minigame.
Stupidest fucking game in this whole game.
Now this is where the game starts throwing off beats at you more and more often, but I think it should be very straightforward as to how this game works. If anything, this game is another one of the games that can be solved by easily just counting like usual. Or you can also just listen to the fish's dialogue. As weird as that sounds. For quick nibbles, count to 3. For pause gales, count to 2. Lastly is the 3 fish. Realistically, you don't actually count to 3, you count to 3.5. But I guess 3.5 fish doesn't sound that good as a name, to be honest. And that's pretty much it. It's basically just counting 3 types of beats. Now Flipper Flop's actually a hard game because it's so goddamn cute.
Gotcha! Five liver roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Nice!
But at this point, you should be able to get some sense of maintaining a rhythm. And if you have that, Flipper Flop should be a pretty easy minigame for you.
Yes! 10 flipper roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Well done!
Exhibition Match is arguably the most out of place minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever. It's such a sharp drop in difficulty and I'm baffled that it's on the 5th roll. It's almost as if Monkey Watch and Exhibition Match were absolutely just reversed in placements. You just need to know one thing when you play this minigame. Count to 5, that's it. And now time for Flock Step. There is really nothing outstanding about this minigame. There are no offbeats. It's basically just another game of maintaining a rhythm. And if you have no problems with Flip or Flop, you should really have no problems with this one as well. is one part that you can consider it difficult, and it's the part where the birds consecutively doing the jumps. And this is what I like to call the one at a time strat, where you simply just keep track of the most earliest bird queue and just keep going from there. You press A and B when it does this sound. Also, please continue to tap when it zooms out. Some people apparently don't know this. Remix 5 shouldn't be that hard of a minigame, but there are a few things that you have to keep note of. The transitions between flipper flop and flock step. Remember to keep pressing A after flipper flop.
2 flipper roll. 1, 2.
Launch party. Launch party. Okay, so this one is actually pretty easy, I would say. The hardest one I would say is the pinball rocket that counts from 1. But essentially, what you have to remember is that the red rocket counts in 4, and then the other rockets all count in 3. They just have a different jingle to it. On to Donk Donk, the game that is so Japanese weird that the English localization team didn't even know what to explain when it comes to this minigame. Hell, even in the end credits, they didn't even give them a name. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea how I perfected this one. This was the last minigame I perfected, so I got infinite tries on it basically. And I eventually just got one in. So have fun. To be honest, this minigame is actually just a maintaining rhythm minigame in disguise. You're either weirded out by the orgasm noises, or you're either about to fall asleep because of how chill this minigame is compared to everything else. Just follow the song or follow the dialogue cue. Now it's time for the most infamous minigame, Love Rap. When it comes to Love Rap, I feel like there are just so many things that you can do to be better at it, but none of them are like 100% foolproof, I feel. So let's go back on the advice that I've mentioned very early on, and that's looking for something to help you keep track of the rhythm. The car bops along with the music. I mean, so does the rappers, but unfortunately, they have to change their poses every now and then every time they say a verse.
Into you.
Into you.
Into you.
So I would recommend looking at the car, but obviously this isn't for those who are epileptic. How I perfected this is by simply just listening to the lyrics. I'm not sure if I can explain this perfectly, but what I like to use is just simply the moment she finishes her sentence is the moment you should be saying yours.
Crazy into you.
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 It's better to be late in this minigame than to be too early, because the timing for this minigame is very strict, and if you're barely, the game will just count you as a miss anyways.
All about you.
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 Faux show.
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 All about you.
All about you.
Faux show.
Faux show.
Faux show.
Faux show.
Faux show.
Faux show.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Also, pay attention to what they say at the end, and what they don't say is obviously what you should be perfecting in order to get the superb. For Remix 6, pay close attention to the dialogue cues for Donk Dong and Bossa Nova. Everything else is just, if you know how to play the minigames, you know how to play the remix.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into
One,
you.
two, do, dunk, 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 three, go! Boom, 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 boom,
Tap Troop is another maintaining rhythm minigame, but I feel like this one has a bit more complicated rhythm change. If you want to memorize it, there are 3 duns. There will be a fast tap tap tap.
Ready, and bum, 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 tap, tap, tap. Okay.
Instant tap tap tap, there will be a short delay before the third tap.
Ready, and tap, tap, tap. Okay.
And if it's a long dun dun dun, there will be a longer delay for the third tap.
And bum, 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 tap, tap, tap. Okay.
If you want the explanation for this, I'll have to give you a bit of a quick music lesson crash course, but don't worry, I'll simplify it as much as possible. The game is structured on a basic 1, 2, 3, 4 beat, and you can count along if that makes you feel better at playing the game.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, tap.
And then there are the changeovers. You do not have to know what beat the changeover changes it to because I feel like that would be too complicated. All you have to know is that when she does tap tap tap, the final tap will always go back to the 4 count beat. And this is the reason as to why some delays are longer than others.
Tap, tap, tap. Okay. Ready, and 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 tap, tap, ready, and tap, tap, ready, and bum, 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 tap, tap, tap. Okay.
If you have any trouble, once again, just listen to the original soundtrack separately on YouTube. You should quickly superb this minigame so you will not have to hear the other 3 members look at you in absolute disappointment again. Now on to Shrimp Shuffle. If you're emulating this on Dolphin, I would recommend going to Options, Graphic Settings, head over onto Hacks, External Frame Buffer, turn it onto Virtual for this minigame. If you do not want to get a seizure, that is. This one is actually a pretty difficult minigame, but that goes for basically every minigame in the 7th row. All of them have irregular rhythms. If that's, I don't know, I just came out with that name. So for this one, it goes 1, 2, 3, pause, 3, 2, pause, 1.
Together. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Together. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Together. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Together. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Together.
The difficult part comes with the pauses, I feel. And to get a superb, you need to be good at 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, ABC. And then lastly, you also need to be good at the pause, at least one of them. The pauses change the beat into an off beat, so that's something to keep in mind. And then after one time of doing everything on the off beat, you will have to quickly shift back into the normal beat.
1, 2, 3, 3, 2. Together. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Together.
If you want a cue as to how to follow along with these things better, just listen out for the together. Either ways, you should quickly get a superb on Shrimp Shuffle because you don't have to hear this awful part of ABC one more time. And also because the OK screen end card is actually pretty stupid, to be honest.
There's no I in prawn. There's an I in shrimp. There's an I in shrimp. It's the name of the game. It's not prawn shuffle. It's shrimp shuffle. There's an I in shrimp!
The cheerleaders is actually very simple. Just listen to the last word of their cheer and press along with it. And for OK, it's on. Hold down AB on it's and let go on on. Simple as that.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, okay, it's on.
There is one difficult part in this minigame. Essentially, you have to hold down AB when it says it's on and quickly press A when it says let's go read a bunch of books. This is what makes cheerleaders 1 harder than cheerleaders 2 later on.
It's up to you. Let's read a bunch of books. Yay! Rah, rah, sis, boom, ba, boom.
For Karate Man, I don't know, it's just practice it, to be honest. Head bang along with the music, bop your head along, tap your feet. It's a pretty fast song, so you're gonna have to get really into it. Another thing I would recommend is simply changing your earphone settings or headphone setting for this one, because there's a certain part of the song where the guitar riff goes from your left ear to your right ear. I personally found that so distracting. I lost 5 perfects because of that. And lastly, Remix 7. This one is actually not too difficult if you've understood all the minigames. However, this one is more of a nerve test. As in, you're definitely going to be nervous on that long dun dun dun.
Ready? And bam, 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 tap, tap.
And that's essentially every minigame. For the minigame sequels, just follow the same tips and you'll do just fine.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Into you.
Into you.
Boat show.
Boat show.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Boat show.
Boat show.
Into you.
Into you.
Boat show.
Boat show.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you.
Boat show.
Boat show.
1, 2, 3. Okay, it's on. Let's read a bunch of books. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's on. It's up to you.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you. Into you.
Crazy into you.
Crazy into you. Into you.
You remember when I said that you need to master quick 1-2s in the figure fighter? Well,
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Go, go, go. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Go, go, go.
yeah, good luck with that.
Double up. Double up.
Now, it's time for Remix 10. You've prepared everything up until this point. You've done every minigame legitly. So, all you have to do in this minigame is...
Let's spread our wings now. Do anything now. Somehow we came this far.
On a serious note, Remix 10 takes a while to get used to. You have to get used to the new rhythm for every minigame, all 40 of them. The hardest parts I feel in this are Love Rap,
Into you. Folk show. All about you. All about you. All about you.
All about you.
All about you.
All about you.
Tambourine,
1, 2, 3.
Ringside,
That true? Oh, big guy.
Hope for the best.
and Nightwalk. Especially Nightwalk. This minigame in Remix 10 is absolutely hell on earth. But other than that, it's just every tip I've mentioned all in one. Now, why have I made this video? Rhythm Heaven Fever is just one of those games that I feel are fun when you discover it and try to play it for your first time, and then it's fun when you try to get through every minigame and up to Remix 10. And then lastly, I feel that the part where nobody mentions is the part where you have a lot of fun even when you're trying to master every minigame. Take Monkey Watch and Love Rap for example. These are two minigames that I initially didn't like at first because they were just simply too hard, to be honest. They were such a sharp jump in difficulty compared to the other minigames because of strict timing or because of too many different mechanics all at once. But eventually, I've gotten better at the game, and I found these minigames to be one of the most fun to play, even when I'm returning to replay the games. And that is the same that goes for every other game, to be honest. I feel like games at the core should be made just for fun. The reason I'm making this video is so that everyone can fully explore Rhythm Heaven Fever. I can fully enjoy the game for what it is and to enjoy every minigame to the fullest. Having perfected every minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever, I can say that every one of them was just fun to play with, except Working Door 2. Every one of them brought something to learn from and something to discover. Something that made me curious to want to know how to be better at it. And I want everyone to experience the same feeling that I felt in my journey to perfect every Rhythm Heaven minigame. I apologize if I ever come across as harsh to RT at any point in this video. That is not my intent. Honestly, a little bit envious of RT. He still gets to have fun with the game that I no longer can have as much fun as he can. So I guess there's only one way to end this video, by the Nightwalk secret ending. I hope this video has helped you in any way as to being better at Rhythm Heaven Fever. Remember, just keep trying at it and you'll eventually get it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if any of these end up helping you.